Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. After all the Sentinels chaos of the last few days, it has been officially confirmed by Sentinels' new coach Kaplan that they are making a roster change for the time being. TenZ is going to step away from the team, at least for this week's matches. Very important matches at that, in terms of if they're going to have any chance of qualifying for Masters Tokyo. And Marved is officially in. The visa is secured, Marved is into the roster. What does this mean for the roles of the team? Could it actually improve the team? Very much intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks to all new supporters well over the last few days. We'll get on over into challenges. It officially kicked off again last night and was back underway. Mad Lions confirming Bjor to their starting team, and also, of course, to Blackheart after making those changes. Blackheart formerly of Cloud9, but Mad Lions are not particularly good. They got blown out of the park yesterday by Moist Moguls. This was not a close series. Lotus and Ascent. I mean, look at these numbers right on the Moist Moguls, so you don't even need to know the numbers on the maps here to know that this is a pretty convincing victory. 13-5 on Lotus, 13-2 on Ascent. Ugly stuff. Trick 3 and 15. And this is the it's entertaining, you've got to say. Challenges tier 2 and NA has always got some storylines, and we saw the storyline just the other week of Zexcro that was on this team, the falling out between Trick and Zexcro. We got many great moments from that, many great memes really. The whole I am Zexcro thing that he did in the DMs, and then Trick coming back with his response and all that stuff. Just great content really. So Zexcro of course was dropped from the team. Trick said, I'm going to lead these guys to great heights. And in the first series they played, they got bodied by a Moist Moguls team that is, they're a decent team, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're anything spectacular. And they just blew them out the park like these guys were, M80 right now, to be honest. And Zexcro even says, in a pretty hilarious tweet, you got to say, okay, it's the Taylor Swift, hey, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me, or whatever it is, the song lyric exactly. But, just joking around about the fact that it wasn't his fault type thing, that team was bad, and maybe, in fact, that it was Trick's fault on the other end of things. So Trick has definitely got to bounce back quickly and lead this team to better success, because otherwise it is going to look like the Zexcro is bang on the money here, that in fact he wasn't the problem with this roster, and it was Trick all along. And obviously some pretty entertaining replies. Realistically, this is for impressions, entertaining stuff for sure, but I mean, look, it's North American challenges, baby. There's always drama coming around the corner. I thought it was pretty funny actually from Matthew Elmore here. So we know that Mad Lions and Trick aren't particularly well liked by a lot of the North American challenger teams, and clearly their roster change didn't really help them at all. So as MCE here, the coach of Cloud9, says Mad Lions has one more map until all of LA blacklists them. So maybe just because they're so bad that no one is going to scrim them anymore, or exactly what the case is. But even Ye replies with this, and I do wonder exactly how DSG are getting on, because we haven't really heard anything as to how their scrims have been going. Possibly they're playing on alternate accounts and stuff, so they don't get spotted, but usually we would get some sort of scrim bucks coming out of their matches that they've played. But in fairness, right, if Moist Moguls are looking like this, and Turtle Troop are looking better as well, Disguise might have quite a hard time. We'll see that too in a second when they play. But man, Mad Lions not in a particularly good spot. Now, yesterday they finally did confirm as well, Turtle Troop, the new acquisitions for the roster. Rossi is in, formerly of TSM. Dazzle, of course, is in, formerly of Shopify Rebellion, and I'm guessing he's doing the IGLing now. I know Governor, I think, was doing it before, but I'm guessing they bring in Dazzle to do the IGLing, which does make sense. And they did play a close series against M80 here, right? This was a 2-0, but it wasn't an easy 2-0 by any means. Xander, Kuala Noob, they went off in this series. Then a 13-10 on Haven, and then a 13-11 on Fracture, with a good first half there. Yes, the 9-3 curse came back to bite them, unfortunately for them, but still, I thought this was quite impressive from Turtle Troop, right? To be able to go this close against M80 in the first series they played with this new roster, I thought was pretty impressive stuff, and yeah, long may it continue, right? But it does mean that that group is highly competitive right now, especially with SR in there as well. Their new roster with Vanity in the team instead. They did their official confirmation that, yes, I believe it was confirmed ages ago, but they kind of did a bit of, content preparation for their matches to come. And this group is stacked, right? You gotta say, Group A, M80, TSM Oxygen, then disguised in there with Ye now, and with Nerf, we saw that acquisition just yesterday. SR and Turtle Troop that look better than before. That is interesting stuff. So many more games to come over the coming days, but the first ones were pretty telling, I think, especially on the Mad Lions side, that they're not particularly good. And maybe Zexro should be pleased to get out of there. Also, congratulations to Finesse. Of course, now he's going by Finesse again, more so than FNS, and NRG, winner of the Bag of Door for the week. So congratulations, minus 31 KDA Dephh. So, he's going to come back stronger next week, I'm sure, but he will certainly need to if NRG want to challenge for a Masters qualification slot. And one team that is going to try and do their best to do that is Sentinels. They are in a rough spot right now. They need to win win at least one of the series they have coming up this week if they're going to have a chance, I think, and they will have a different roster to attempt exactly that. So we saw just yesterday that Sassy was starting to play on the Initiators again, and Zekken was playing it probably on the Duelists, with Pankada likely going back to the Sentinel role, and that opens the door for a controller. So we know that the situation with Sentinels has been pretty tricky over the last few weeks with the role changes. Then we had the confirmation come out that indeed Marv does have his visa sorted, and then we saw all the drama with the head coach of the team getting fired in Psycho. Kaplan is now stepping in to that head coach role, formerly worked with the Ghost Esports guys, or Ghost Gaming, I believe, was the name of the organization technically. So lots of drama with Sentinels, and it has finally come to a head last night with the confirmation that changes are going to be made. Even as Kaide says, we looked at this tweet yesterday that TenZ wanted to sit out of their series, but he wasn't able to, and now that he is able to, with Marved being available, with the visa being sorted, it's inevitable, I thought yesterday, that it was going to happen, and it was officially confirmed here by Kaplan. So I'll share about a minute or so of this. He discusses what's changing internally with him stepping up to the head coach role, Drew Spark, their former analyst, stepping up to the assistant coach role, what his coaching style is, the importance of meshing well with the players, and some of the successes he's previously had to try and inspire some confidence in the Sentinels fan base that indeed they are on the right track here, and maybe they will be down the line. There was obviously some disagreements with Psycho in terms of what was happening behind the scenes, or whether it was from Rob Moore to Psycho, or exactly what was going on. We didn't really know, but well, will the story change? They'll certainly hope that it will. But towards the end of the video, he confirms TenZ, with all the stuff he's dealing with, testing positive at COVID the other day, getting that infection in his finger, he's going to be stepping out of the team for at least this week's matches. It's a big week for Sentinels. They played 2 games this week, and incredibly important games at that. We'll see here in a second. And TenZ is not in the best position with his infection in his finger, and also with personal things going on, and just being straight up unwell in general, to play this week, and therefore Marv is the man to come in.
Okay, so it's been a week, but let's talk about this week. Our boy Tyson, not feeling so good. His finger's injured, he's got COVID. We're gonna give him a week to chill. Luckily, we have a world champion for a sub. We're gonna be bringing Marved in, we're gonna be practicing with him this week, and playing our super week of matches with him this weekend. We play loud out the gates, and then MIBR, just run it back. Beat 2 Brazilian teams 1 weekend. All right, so change can be scary, but the things you guys need to know: this team is going to be well coached, well disciplined, well structured, and razor sharp on stage. We have world-class caliber players, and I have every intention of showing you exactly what they're capable of. Appreciate your time and your support.
So TenZ is out, Marved is in, and we know that Kaplan said in the video that it's for this week, but of course you have to wonder, right, if this works out for Sentinels, if Marved comes in and plays well, then will they make this move a more long-term decision? Will TenZ next week be ready to go again? Maybe, but even if he is, then if they do well with Marved, will they make that move? They're kind of spoiled for choice in a way, because you've got a player as talented as TenZ sitting on the bench, and hopefully we'll be back to full capacity very shortly. You've got options with the starting roster, right? We did talk about, okay, should Dephh go at some point? Could they change around the roles even further? That's another option possibly. But yes, as I say, loud MIBR. But the way it seems to me is that TenZ might well be out for longer, if not significantly longer, than just this week of matches. Don't know what you guys think in the comment section, but it'd be nice for TenZ to come back in. But I don't know how likely that is, especially if Marved hits the ground running. Now, as Marved says, hooray, I'll be on stage this weekend. See you there. So interesting for Marved, right? Because it wasn't long ago where Marved was like, nah, I don't really want to play anymore. Or, well, he wanted to play at some point, but he wanted to take a step away and wasn't so keen. Now Marved is like all in on coming back, right? This guy's been keen for a long time now to get back into the games, and I wonder if he does think, oh, maybe I should have gone to NRG with those guys at the start of the season. But I guess now he's maybe even in a better spot with Sentinels and all the additional clout that comes with that. And it's kind of funny, really, that Marved and OpTic, right, last season, OpTic versus Loud was an inevitability of any international tournament, and Marved was on that OpTic team, and as soon as it comes that Sentinels having to play Loud, Marved just inexplicably, the universe decides that Marved is going to be playing that series, and indeed he is. He's in that team now, and cNed, of course, dropping the snake thing, but pretty funny that he is now back in the league. Now, the question to me is, what is the role dynamic going to be on Sentinels? Because there were some questions about this recently, with Sassy changing things around a little bit, with Pankada being on the controller, then maybe he should be back on the Sentinel, and they were changing opening things up. Now I think it's quite clear what they do. Marved comes in as the controller. TenZ, of course, is out though as a duelist, so they need someone else to be the duelist, and I think Zekken is going to be that guy. Zekken in the past has been a very effective raise. He still runs it from time to time. I guess he's going to be on the Jet as well, and I do think this is a sensible decision, right? What they're going to do, I imagine, is that Sassy is going to go back to the initiative of the team. We saw that he did that in practice the other day, that he was kind of off the Sentinel, back on the initiator, right, on the Sova a lot of the time. Pankara will probably step into the Sentinel role. Zekken will then step up to be the duelist. Dephh will flex whatever is necessary on the map, and then Marved will be the controller. So I think that makes the most sense. I actually really like this idea that Zekken can kind of focus on being the duelist for the team, use the raise, use the Jet potentially, whatever the map is required for, and I think he can be very effective in that specific role. So I like the idea of this. I like the idea that TenZ is just going to get a bit of a rest, right, because I think it's sensible that they probably needed to do that, and I think it's beneficial for both parties right now. Whether TenZ actually returns in the near future, I'm not so sure, but still, if they struggle this week, they might be trying to rush to Sentinels TenZ back into the starting lineup. These then are the games, and there's a few teams that play twice this week. There's a lot of matches, of course, and two of them are massive for Sen. They play Loud first game on the 21st. Man, that is such a big series. I can't imagine they're going to win that, right? With no practice really with Marved over the last few days, with Loud undefeated and looking like the best team in the region, if not one of the best teams in the world. I mean, second best team right after Fnatic right now. That is the second series of the week, the MIBR series. MIBR are looking strong, don't get me wrong. Good team right now for sure. And Sentinels versus Brazil is always spicy, but they need to win this series because right now Sentinels, they've started out slow. They're like 1-2 right now. If they start 1-4, getting top 3 is almost over, right? Like their hopes are almost over. If they can come out of this week 2-3, like their chances are still alive of getting top 3 and qualifying for Masters, but it's going to be tough. So they need to turn up quickly. Marved needs to deliver, and I'm sure he'll do the best that he possibly can. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.